Welcome, Cupcake, to Geek Salad's retro movie review for the Geek Salad podcast. I'm Andy.
And I'm Mike.
And tonight we conclude our look at the final frontier with our discussion of 2009's Star Trek.
Yes. Just Star Trek.
Just straight up Star Trek.
Yeah.
Now, you and I both saw this movie together.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so first time for both of us was going to the theater and seeing this one. Straight up, this is one of my favorite Star Trek movies.
This is a really, really excellent movie.
Yeah.
But I gotta say, maybe it's because we just watched motion picture the 3 and 4.
Yeah.
I kind of get all the criticisms where it doesn't really feel like a Star Trek movie. It definitely has a different vibe, a similar but different vibe than 3 and 4 did.
Well, yeah, and I think that if you go and you even watch some of the Next Generation movies, it doesn't have the same kind of vibe as that either. Not necessarily saying that's a bad thing.
No, it's still a great movie. It's still a really fun movie.
This is a movie that actually looks like Paramount decided to not cheap out on it.
Yeah,
and that's
this is definitely done by Paramount's movie portion, not the TV portion.
Right. This is the way to get Star Trek back into the consciousness. I mean, not like it ever really went away between, Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Discovery,
Voyager.
Yeah, it's just all of them. It's never really gone away. So to be able to get this and do a reboot in a way that was actually really clever to keep the continuity. Oh, yeah. If I had invested in lens flares earlier, Kurt, I'd be a rich man.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels like the nice thing about this is that it maintains the original continuity while changing everything.
Yeah.
But in a way where the reboot doesn't say, well, all that stuff that you liked never happened.
No, it actually goes out of its way. That is a plot point of the movie.
Yeah. It's just that it took a different turn to get to everything else. And that's the brilliant thing, to bring an older Spock into the picture and have him just kind of like go through that timeline.
Yeah. And I mean, I gotta say, watching that opening scene with George Kirk,
yes,
Mr. Hemsworth there, I actually got emotional at it. I mean, it is actually a very, very heartbreaking way to start off this movie.
Yeah. What I find interesting about the whole thing is that it kicks right off too. There is no slow. Even in some of the movies we talked about, the action that happens, it's still a slow burn, even if there's an action scene at the very beginning. Go back to, Star Trek the Motion Picture, and we can discuss how long that Klingon scene is. But with this, you get right into it. Not only that, it's the first time that I really feel like there's a lot of chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Going on the bridge of the ship, where it's not just that whole brace for impact.
Yeah. I mean, although I do have to say, like, that's a Romulan mining ship that they're on, right?
Yeah.
Romulan mining ships are like weaponized to the gills in the future. I'm saying, like, in like 139 years, Starfleet will have like shields that can protect against mining missiles.
Well, considering that you're going back, you're dealing with a ship from the future.
Yeah.
Going back. I mean, most of that stuff is all their torpedoes and stuff like that. They're for defense, but also a lot of that stuff is probably just mining equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, their drill is it's mining equipment.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Add in a little bit of red matter, though.
Well, yeah, that came after.
Yeah.
It just overall, this movie just brings me joy.
Yeah.
It is definitely it. Even though this was kind of like J.J. Abrams' audition reel for Star Wars,
Yeah.
I still feel like there's a lot of heart and soul put into this movie. The cast is practically perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I was texting you like the cast, like spot on, every single one. The only one I was like, I don't really see James doing in Simon Pegg. Simon
Okay,
Pegg
and
is kind of always Simon Pegg.
right, but I think that's also because J.J. Abrams is buddies with Simon Pegg, and it was like it worked for what it needed to work with. It brought even more nerds to the fray with it as well, which is a good thing.
Yeah, but everyone else I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Chris Pine was phenomenal in this. Zachary Quinto, this is probably the best he's ever been in anything.
Yeah, I mean, just for Chris Pine, like he was always Kirk, but when he walks onto the bridge at the end in the uniform, he does that. Like, wow, that was Shatner right there.
Yeah, yep. And there are flourishes of it throughout the movie. The whole thing with the Kobayashi Maru.
Yeah,
where you can see the cockiness. You can see what a young Shatner would have done as a young Kirk in that same position.
One little twist, though, I love about it is the fact that in the original series and like all the movies, Kirk is just like this gung ho fighter. He can like win every single fight, even against someone like Khan, who is way stronger than him. This one, he loses every single fist fight he's in.
Yeah, it's almost like he has to learn how to do it. He gets some Han Solo like Captain Kirk.
There's a nice swagger in there, yeah.
Right. I think this is the first thing I saw him in because I forgot, that I saw him in The Princess Diaries, and I thought he was very good.
Yeah, this was definitely the first thing I saw him in. Because I'd never seen The Princess Diaries.
Right. Yeah, now I'm trying to think of the other names. Zoe Saldana is really good as Uhura. This is the most they've given Uhura to do in anything.
Oh yeah, and I guess her relationship with Spock, when I first saw it, it came out of left field.
Yeah.
The more I watch it, the more I really like it.
Right.
Because in a sense, like Sarek married Amanda. If you go back to the original series, it was kind of like a way to rebel against his own father.
Yeah.
And I could totally see Spock hooking up with Uhura as a way to kind of sticking it to Sarek.
Yeah. But even still, the relationship that Spock and Sarek, especially at the end, was I really liked that a lot. I really liked how, he had to come clean that Vulcan do in fact marry for love.
Yeah.
And nice little Winona Ryder cameo in there too.
Yeah. I guess you could say it was a cameo. It was small enough, but it was important.
So I mean enough. She was only in like half. She was out of the movie. She only had like 5 minutes of overall screen time.
Yeah, about there. Yeah.
But there was so much. I mean, John Cho as
Sulu was fantastic.
Yeah, Anton Yelchin is a lot of fun in this as well.
Yeah, he was taken from us way too soon.
Yeah, but I really enjoyed watching the language barrier with him and all the voice activated equipment.
Victor. I don't know what you're saying. Victor.
I enjoyed also that there's a lot of shout outs, not only just for stuff like Sulu is trained in fencing.
Yeah.
But just we got some really good red shirt nods in there as well. It just I know it's so easy. It's so easy, but my God, it was watching that and seeing the guy in the red shirt, knowing, yep,
it's Sulu, it's Kirk, it's Olsen. I wonder who's not going to make it out of this one.
Yeah. It's like the old Eddie Murphy joke about, they're beaming down the planet. I wonder who, who's going to die. It's not, it's either Kirk, Bones, or Yeoman Smith.
And of course, who did they give all the detonators to? Olsen.
Yep. Of course they did. I will also say, too, I really, really enjoy Eric Bana in this movie.
I do as well. I kind of wish they'd given him a little bit more dimension. Like if we'd actually been able to see maybe a flashback to him with his wife.
Yeah.
And she was pregnant. She didn't actually give birth yet, right?
No.
Yeah. So seeing actually some more of that, I think, would have made him a more sympathetic villain. As it was, he kind of started bridging into the.
Yeah, but there were flourishes though where he does do, he's more calm when when he hails the Enterprise, for Pike, he's very laid back.
Yeah.
Hello, Christopher. I'm Nero.
And like when the captain at the beginning, and when he's just sitting there and finally he just like snaps and boom.
Yeah. Well, it's because he found out how what year it was.
Yeah. He was way far off.
Yeah. And also too, first of all, I love the fact that they incorporated Bruce Greenwood into this. I love Bruce Greenwood.
Oh, he was fantastic as Pike.
Yeah. It was great too because we never ended up with him in like the one for yes, two for no box.
He wasn't in a wheelchair.
Well, yeah, because he was held hostage by the Romulans.
Yeah. By not a SETI eel, but a Centaurian eel.
Yes. What I really enjoyed about this movie in terms of the overall improvements of the movie, first of all, I love the uniforms.
Mm.
The uniforms had the classic look without actually looking like old uniforms from the 60s. It was kind of funny, though, because I remember like my first takeaway from seeing the uniforms are all the women are still in the go-go skirts.
Yeah.
But
you know what? I didn't mind it because it still seemed to work.
I enjoyed that. I actually loved the transporter effect.
Yeah, that like swirling the white lines there.
Yeah, that was really cool. The design of the bridge too. It looked clean. I mean, it's supposed to be a new ship too. That's the thing that watching the movie you have to remember. The Enterprise is a brand new ship at that point. It's not. I mean,
Pike even says like the brand new flagship.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was their first voyage too.
Yep, and that's why everyone had to get on to the Enterprise. That was like the prize ship, including Kirk.
And Uhura is like, "Am I not the best? I am going to be on the Enterprise." Get on the Enterprise.
You're on the Enterprise, yeah. Yeah, why am I forgetting his name now? My God, what's wrong with me?
Who? Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, yeah. Carl Urban's Bones was phenomenal.
Yes.
Probably the best emulation of a character in the entire movie.
And his relationship with Kirk, was so good because because normally like you had the core three in the original series, but here you didn't have the Spock element until at the very end, so you had to have those two, and it worked. It worked.
Yeah, it worked. It worked very well. The fact that McCoy hates space, hates going up into space, and having that explanation of why they are buddy buddy was great too. And the beauty is too is that Carl Urban is such a versatile actor.
Yeah,
I mean, from this you wouldn't know he's Australian. You don't watch The Boys, but his Billy Butcher is such a different character, different accent, different everything.
I gotta say, I don't I've seen him in a few things. I don't think I've ever seen him do a less than stellar job.
Yeah, he is great. I mean, Dread. Have you seen Dread?
I have not seen Dread, but that's one that I really want to see.
Oh, so good.
Yeah,
he is so good in it. Definitely worth your time. Yeah, I just again, I this movie just makes me happy when I watch it. It's not, it doesn't. The other thing too, it doesn't overstay its welcome, and it's a solid 2-hour movie.
It is. It moves along at a solid pace.
Yep, 2 hours and 7 minutes, and most of the 2.7 is built off of credits.
Yeah. I also gotta say, I love the interactions like between Zachary Quinto Spock and Leonard Nimoy Spock. Like where you see like where Spock started, and you see where he eventually gets.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And you see it is the same character, but just two different ends of the spectrum, and you know that like from all the movies, all the TV shows that we've seen, we know how he gets to there. So it was a really nice kind of culmination of a lot.
Yeah. No, it was really nice to see Leonard Nimoy because he would be around for at least the next movie.
Yeah. Yeah. Into Darkness was, I think, his last movie, or
2013. It came out in 2013.
When did he pass?
2015.
Yeah, so it would have been one of his.
Yeah, I don't think he was in Beyond.
No, he was not. He had died before Beyond.
Right. But the other thing too about this movie is the music. One of the main characters of this is the Michael Giacchino score. This is, if I'm being honest, the score that I feel like he maybe should have won the Oscar for that year. He won it for Up, and I don't have a problem with the score for Up. But my God, this Star Trek score is fantastic. Because not only does he incorporate the elements of the TV show score, but then has this other completely different series of themes.
Yeah,
that he goes through.
Yeah, I love this score, but just much like the rest of the movie, it felt like it was Star Trek, but at the same time, it had a different vibe than most of the other Star Trek scores we've heard.
Right.
It wasn't like I said, it wasn't a bad thing. I love Michael Giacchino, but I went in expecting a Star Trek score, and I got a Star Trek score of a different nature.
Yeah, and again, I think that had we not just spent the last month watching the early Star Trek movies,
yes,
just kind of the point of view from where we're coming from at this time, might be different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, personally, this is one of my favorite scores of the last 30 years. It's just so great. And again, like I said, when they incorporate the TV show music at the end credits after the Enterprise, jumps to warp speed, and then we just get that, we get like the whole thing with Nimoy doing the Final Frontier.
Yeah, and then you go kind of like a weird, a newer version of the original score, and then that fades into the Michael Giacchino's movie score for it.
Yeah,
kind of melds it too.
Yeah, this movie makes me so happy. This is in my top 3 Star Trek films.
There was one like kind of a nitpick that I picked up on this time while watching.
Yeah.
At the end, like the red matter has been ignited, the ship is imploding. Like Kirk calls him up, offers to rescue him. He says no. Like, okay, great. Fire all weapons. Like, shouldn't you be getting out of there? You don't need to fire all your weapons. The thing is going to be imploding in seconds. No one can escape it. You got to get the hell out of there. Right. And they don't. They fire all weapons, and then they have a hard time getting out of there.
Right. But that's the thing, though, is that it's a knuckle biter.
What was that?
I don't know. You heard that too. So
I heard that too. Yeah. All right. Anyway, while Andy's checking out what the hell that was, what banshee scream that was.
Autumn just defeated Ganondorf in Tears of the Kingdom.
Well, you know
they're
what?
All, it's excited screaming.
Oh yeah, that makes total sense now. Give her my congratulations.
Yes. Yeah, no, I mean, you needed that nail biter. You needed to know what happens now that they are in. Kirk's got to think on the fly. How do you get out of this?
One other slight nitpick. When they teleported onto the Enterprise, from that base.
Oh, from the ice station.
Yeah, the ice station, which had a push bar on the exterior door.
You loved it.
Very futuristic there. But when they teleported in, and then they had that whole shtick where Scotty was in the water pipes. You know what?
Yeah,
I didn't need it. It was fun, but it seemed superfluous. They could have had just the alarm pick up on unauthorized teleportation onto the ship.
I didn't mind it. It was there to kind of just show how weird the transporters can still be, even because this is brand new.
Yeah.
For Scotty, he's the one who created it, but he hadn't come up with it yet.
That was Star Trek 4 logic.
That was, and I love that too. And I was thinking about that when we first saw it. It's like, yeah, well, how do you know that he didn't come up with this in the first place?
He did, because a future Spock told him about it. It wasn't a bad scene. It was a fun scene. It just did not seem necessary to me. But it was a nitpick. I picked up a couple of nitpicks from this one, but it still had a whole ball of fun watching this movie. It was so much fun. It was such a great movie.
Yeah. It broke my heart when I showed this to my kids a few years ago, and they were bored by it. It's like, I'm showing you the exciting one.
Yeah, bored by this one? Don't ever show them Star Trek: The Motionless Picture.
Oh my God, no.
They would be asleep before the first half hour.
And watched a little bit of 5 with me.
Oh.
But
why
after we had watched
bad ones?
What's that?
Why'd you show them the bad one?
Because they like watching the bad ones.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
Yeah. But
she's very
overall, I give this movie, the highest of recommendations. Star Trek 5. What is God? Spaceship 4.
Yeah, I would say, like, when I first saw this, it was like probably a 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Seeing it now, I think I'd drop it down to a 7.5 out of 10. Still really fun. Still really love it. Maybe an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm in my Letterboxd right now because I don't post my Letterboxd stuff until afterwards. Should I even put it on there? Out of the Letterboxd 5, I'd give it about a 4.
Yeah, I would say 3.5 to 4 would probably be my rating for it. Yeah. Still really, really fun movie. Fantastic. I still prefer Star Trek 4. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I gotcha. I think this one for me edges Star Trek 4 out a little bit. Mainly because it wasn't trying to be as familiar.
No.
I feel than like the original crew.
Yeah, it was trying to bring new people into the universe, and I think it succeeded, quite frankly.
It absolutely did succeed.
I mean, I haven't seen any of Discovery or Strange New World, but I kind of get the feeling that they do kind of take a lot of aesthetic choices.
They do.
From
what I've seen of it, which isn't much, unfortunately.
And
that's the weird thing now too is that as we close out this month, just thinking about how Star Trek is still around and it's still new, and we had Picard, we had New Frontiers, we have Lower Decks, so it's one of these things that, quite honestly, it's like one of the few things Paramount still has going for it, other than the Mission Impossible series, and even after last summer, I don't know, I'm not all that comfortable saying that Mission Impossible is going to be around all that much longer.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if there was one thing that would get me to buy Paramount Plus, it would be Star Trek.
Yeah.
I still prefer Star Wars,
Same.
but I do not hate Star Trek at all. I love Star Trek.
Yeah.
I mean, Next Generation was my jam growing up. I watched every single episode.
Yeah. And I was always kind of the one, like, outside looking in. I always enjoyed the movies. Couldn't get as much into the TV show. And a lot of that had to do sometimes with some of the writing, feeling like maybe the writers felt like they were like trying to be more clever than everybody else. Like, look what we did.
I've gone back and watched a few of the original series episodes. You can find them online or whatever.
Yeah.
I watched. Was the first one with Mark Leonard actually as the Romulan commander, Balance of Terror.
Okay.
And that one is phenomenal. That one is absolutely. They absolutely took elements of that into Wrath of Khan. The whole final battle scene, where neither one knows where the other one is. That was Balance of Terror.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I went to a comic book convention, which is like back in the mid '80s. They had the Star Trek pilot. They were showing the Star Trek pilot, the one with Pike, as opposed to Kirk.
Oh wow, yeah. Oh yeah, because that was before they had actually shown it on TV, right?
Yeah, it was kind of like the lost pilot, because the only time you could watch them was in syndication.
Yeah.
Like for us, I think it was Channel 38 that had them.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So anyway, that's our take on Star Trek 2009.
Yeah.
We want to know, what are your thoughts on that? Leave a polite comment below. We'd love to know what your my typical greeting would be considered self-serving. So
that was great.
I love that line. I have to leave you with good luck. Yeah, so we want to know what are your thoughts on Star Trek. Leave a polite comment below. If you're new to the channel, hey, welcome. We did 3 other of these. Go back, check those out. Check out all our playlists where we have all of our retro reviews.
Yep.
Like, subscribe, you know the deal. If you're going to review us on iTunes. Why? Because it's the only one that counts, apparently. Also, Mike and I host a little podcast called Geek Salad. You can check that out wherever you get your podcasts. We just launched a new episode last week, so if you haven't checked out yet, check out our best and worst live-action superhero costumes.
Yeah.
Definitely want to add some of those Wolverine costumes from Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
And so check that out. Also, we are on the socials on Facebook at Geek Salad Podcast and at Geek Salad Radio on Twitter, Threads, and Blue Sky. So, we haven't figured out what we're doing next month. We'll figure that out soon. And until next time, I'm Andy.
I'm Mike.
Go forth, be nerdful, live long, and prosper.